Okay,
Oh, hi,
so
Miss.
hi. Um, how do I do this? What do I do?
So, so what you want to do is you want to stream your webcam to the chat in the channel here.
Um,
So you should be able to hit like video or screen, anything like that. There you go. And now, Girlfriend is going to grab that window capture with her OBS, and then you'll be on Girlfriend's screen. Um, That is interesting, isn't it? Maybe Nis, are you able to grab your video cam as a window as opposed to the video button potentially? Like if you've got like a built-in webcam. Uh, yeah.
yeah, it's coming through the stream already. So I can.
game
feel
real
like I've done
quick.
this before.
That means you're on the right life path.
Right.
Yes.
Why are you not capturing? Capture the thing. Okay, there we go. Now I need to make you larger over here.
And Salad, do you have a camera?
Yes. I can set that up.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah. Instead of hitting the video button, though, if you can try and window capture your camera, that'll be much easier for Girlfried.
Yes.
Okay.
I
Yeah, that was
actually
one of the things
can't
that we were trying to figure out
split you
before.
guys into different videos. It looks like. Ah.
What? Who? What now?
I have to have you in a grid layout. I can't have you in different spots. But I can full screen that. Ah, dang it. Okay. Not full screen. Not full screen.
Let me just. I might not have a camera.
Hide that section.
Okay. No stress.
Okay.
Can you all hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, alright, I just wanted to make sure.
Yep, everyone sounds awesome.
I switched from my push to talk to just an open mic. So hopefully I don't have to sit here and keep pushing my middle mouse button.
That booty dough. Oh my god.
That booty dough. Salad, your user profile picture is Chef's
Scandalous.
kiss for the it's Chef's kiss for the stream. Not
Yes.
scandalous. What?
Well, listen, scandal can be fun.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
Doesn't mean that just because it's scandalous doesn't mean it's bad.
Okay, I don't think
It's
I am
the
lagging
scandal.
much now. I think.
And I
You
don't.
seem
need
like you're
to-
okay on the stream. What's up? What's up,
I'm
Salad?
just saying with my profile picture, that's me, so I don't have to give credit to anyone but myself.
Dang, Salad.
I love
That's
it.
a good booty, Salad.
Thank you.
Oh,
Okay,
apparently we're a little low on the viewer end of things, Nis and Smog, for volume. FYI.
Okay.
According to a Smuffle.
Give me just a
A
second.
Smuffle shuffle.
All right.
I also tend to mumble though, so I'm sorry.
Turn.
I'm fortunate enough to where my mic is so hyper focused that if I start mumbling, it won't even pick it up.
Also, because I have my audio output down, that probably explains it.
Oh yeah, that'll do it.
There we go. Now it's coming about even as me. How's that sound, Boots? Cringy smile.
Cringy smile? No.
Heh.
Just drift
Next
across
time,
the screen.
I'll help you get set up with a little special fancy thing that will improve this next time. I think. Future updates.
Elusive
Yeah.
seventh vowel. So.
Smogness say things. Hi,
We're
hi,
saying
Smuffle.
things.
Boots,
Hi, Boots.
boots and cats and boots and
That's
cats and
better.
boots and cats and boots and cats. Okay.
I can't
Hey,
tell my
Smogger,
stream on my
are
phone
you
is
in-
logging. Is
Are
loading.
you intentionally having a green screen on your background?
Well, technically, I normally have a chroma key on here so that I'm just
Oh.
floating, but I don't have control over that. So you know what I could do? I could hold on. Well, welcome to behind the scenes of what my situation looks like over here.
Okay, am I a little quieter now? I turned my output or my input a little lower.
A little down.
Yeah.
Okay.
My audio input is feeling a little down today.
Oh.
Cause my my headphones keep shifting all about my head.
glue them on. That's your life
Nice.
now. There we go. How about that?
Hey, it's also the background on the stream.
Yes, I've got my own.
That's
I've got my
amazing.
own mini version of it.
I want to get a green screen eventually.
Okay. Girlfriend, do you want to let people know what they're in for here?
I don't know. Do we know what we're in for here?
That.
I'm the one that planned this.
I
I don't even know
thought
what's going on.
I thought you had all of the talking points ready, girlfriend.
I mean, I've got the topics written down, but see, I didn't really write anything.
Oops.
Oh boy.
I got a little sidetracked watching Stargate SG-1.
Oops.
Priorities.
Priority.
Exactly.
Oh, all right. So I'm actually going to run something here.
Well, where would we like to start?
I think Nis is working on something here.
Okay.
Oh no, I'm just trying to host your stream on mine.
Mm.
Oh, okay. Disregard. Girlfriend, go.
Okay.
Just
Yeah.
tell people what we're doing. Why are we here? What are we talking about?
Well, let's see. Human Rights Day. So there's that.
Woo! Yeah.
I think we were also talking about discussing Elliot Page and our own experiences coming out and transitioning and
Yeah, we're here to talk about trans rights today. Gender, sexuality, and transitions, and you know how that has been recently represented in media, especially with Cyberpunk 2077 and Elliot Page coming out, and also our own our own history with ourselves and gender and our own kind of stories that we're willing to share with people. So very very personal topics today for sure. Um, I feel like we should start. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. This is your thing, so tell me to shut up at any point. But I feel like we could start at Cyberpunk just because that's like the biggest thing that's out right now, and I know a lot of people were kind of like, you know, not super pleased with representation. So
Okay. Well,
yeah.
let's just dive right into that first and foremost. There was and I'm not sure the legitimacy of how much of the trans community was actually trying to push this, but there was a narrative that was going around about actually boycotting the game altogether because of it.
Because of what specifically, though?
But because specifically of the now former marketing manager for GOG, which is a subsidiary of CD Projekt Red. Which this actually happened a while back. The tweet, if I recall correctly, and because I don't have it up in front of me right now, but the tweet was, these classic games won't be erased either. Hashtag won't be erased. Hashtag something else. And it wasn't so much of a transphobic thing from my viewpoint. Again, I can't speak for all transgender people. Just from my own personal viewpoint, it didn't seem like it was more so like overt transphobia. It was just like, oh, you probably shouldn't have done that because I don't think that you're really understanding the gravity of what that hashtag is supposed to be based on. But what happened consequently after that was the manager was promptly fired the day after that. And you look at some things with corporations, and this wasn't so much of a morality issue with them standing up for trans rights. Admittedly, it was well, this hasn't been the first time that we've had a problem with something that this person has done, so we're firing them.
Okay. I just pulled up an article so that I could maybe speak a little bit more to like the specifics of that, and I'm just gonna read this. This is an article on Polygon, and it says GOG.com, the online game retailer known for its stance against digital rights management, is embroiled in yet another cultural debate on Twitter. This week, a representative elected to use a hashtag promoting unity amongst transgender people to instead promote its own storefront. The tweet was later deleted. While no apology was issued, GOG took the opportunity to recommit itself to refocusing its message solely about the games it sells. The hashtag in question was hashtag won't be erased. Um, yeah, so that was what that specific was. Is they tried to usurp a Twitter hashtag that was specifically about trans people and trans erasure, and they tried to twist it to their own advantage of hey, come buy stuff from us, which is just like
Oof.
completely missing the fucking point.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, this is very reminiscent of oh gosh, Chris Pratt.
Oh God,
Oh,
yes.
God.
His like Instagram post promoting Onward, and it's just like, ooh, no. Poor
Yeah.
taste, guys. That's bad.
Yeah, for sure not good. So that's the specifics of that issue.
Right.
Which like I can understand people being really upset about that and upset at GOG. I am of the stance of like, one person cannot speak for all people in this matter, and they did immediately take action against that, but they also didn't necessarily issue an apology either. So it's kind of like, I don't know how to feel about that.
Right. Right. And it's definitely, I mean, it's one thing to hold the parent company responsible for the subsidiaries, for sure. Um, but I think the for me at least, the difference here, we have a lot of discussions about separating the artist from the art, and how sometimes that just doesn't work. But when you're talking about subsidiaries of companies, when the higher level company is working on a different path than just this software publishing and getting more money. um, so I'm reading Girlfriend's chat as we're going through this, and I see the question is that the argument? Well, that's one of the arguments. There are several arguments
Yeah.
that I've been
What
seeing. But I mean, more to the point is, with this particular game, it's been in development since 2013. Even before transitioning, I remember seeing the trailer for the initial announcement trailer for this back in 2013, and just being super stoked about it. Just being still closeted at that time. I wasn't out. I still couldn't admit several things to myself at that time. But even just seeing that and just the idea of that kind of game, just uh, you know, it started hyping me up. And the fact that the game development had been pushed out so far, and then even over this summer, they made some changes to the game, addressing some of the issues that LGBTQ community has brought up with, the 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 gender stuff, and character customization and everything like that. Do I still think that there's more work that they can do on it to improve it? Absolutely. But them actually pushing launch out further to address some of those issues that we had brought to their attention and said, hey, this is problematic. Can you fix it? And they've done it. To then go back in right before launch and say, well, that's not enough. So we're going to boycott your game. It just seems like a tactical misstep to me at this point, given that the gaming industry in itself, is still like dude bro heavy, right? And you look back and you think of stuff like GamerGate, and you realize that we aren't really in a position to have a 100% purity check on these games, but pushing them to do better and make better games and do things based off of what we're asking, and then turning around and saying, well, we're going to boycott your game now. That just, if I was another game developer and I saw that, I would not want to I wouldn't want to pursue doing anything that this particular community is asking me to do if I make changes and they still boycott what I'm publishing anyways.
Honestly,
Yes.
And I'll shut up.
from what I've seen of Cyberpunk, which is literally just Smog's stream last night, I I'm sorry, I was at physical therapy, so I wasn't able to watch your stream today, Nis. Otherwise
That's
I would have. But from what I've seen, I feel like, you know what, they did a better job than what other games have done trying to incorporate the LGBT community and everything. I feel like they actually gave a better attempt than some other games.
Yeah.
And yeah, Opal, baby steps are better than no steps.
Right. Yeah, that's not to like, you know, dig too deep into an issue, but I've felt this way for a long time in that our community has a tendency to take anything related to us, anything that has an LGBT character that's related to this group in any way, and completely nitpick it apart to the point where you can't enjoy it anymore. And it's like at a certain point, people are going to stop presenting those stories because even the people that you're trying to reach out to, they're like, well, it isn't representative of exactly what my story or my experience is or what I think it should be. And therefore it's bad and I'm not going to watch it. I'm not going to be involved with it. And I don't think that's okay. I think you need to start like analyzing things and being like, here is what you did well. Here is where I think we could have improved. But just like taking one thing and hating it into the ground and out of existence is like, okay, cool. So we're just never gonna have anything for ourselves. That's awesome.
Right.
Great.
Right.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Exactly.
ruining it.
And to speak a little bit more to Cyberpunk specifically, a lot of people were worried that and this isn't something obviously that we were able to show on stream yesterday, but the genitalia options and how you can customize those. People were really worried that it was going to be an over sexualization of trans people. And it, for me, in the character creator, I'm like, okay, my tit options are small, big. Wow, okay, that's it.
And default. There were
default.
three. There's small, default, and big.
Right, and that's it. And then like same for the penis. It's like you could be long, you can be short, you can be kind of small, you can be kind of big, and that's it. And it's like and they were very realistic. It wasn't like a big like giant erection that you were looking at like these
Right.
things,
Like there wasn't a sliding scale on it where you can make the girth and everything like that bigger or
Add
whatever.
veins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh my gosh.
So it wasn't I didn't feel at all like it was sexualizing the body. It was just like, here are the genitalia, here are your options of how those can look. You know, so for me personally, I didn't have any problems with how Cyberpunk was presenting trans people. My only complaint would be that I cannot have a masculine body frame with female pronouns. I think that sucks. I think that that would be a really easy fix, and like very minimal like requirement for that. Like one freaking button, I feel like, and you'd be good to go. So that's my only real complaint is that I can't like have a feminine body type with masculine pronouns or a masculine body type with feminine pronouns.
So
Yeah.
no, go ahead, Salad.
Oh,
You gonna
I have not played Cyberpunk yet, but all I'm thinking
Okay.
about is The Sims because
Yes.
because in The Sims
So-
you can have your character. It doesn't have like genitalia, but you can have a masculine person, but be feminine, and you can have a feminine person wear only
Oh,
masculine
right.
clothes, and you can go in and say this person can get pregnant or this person cannot get pregnant, and they can still be a female. And I'm like, this is great. I mean, it took a couple updates for them to put that in, but I was like, why doesn't every game have this? So that's my only.
Do I have to turn in my gamer
Right,
card because I
so-
completely forgot about The Sims?
How did you forget about The Sims? Oh
I
my
don't
God.
know.
Okay.
I don't know how I forgot
So-
about The Sims. It spaced my mind, and I'm like, wait a minute. That's a
So-
thing.
But Boots brings up a good point about Cyberpunk 2070. Not a super high point about it, but you can actually have a male body frame, and currently in Cyberpunk 2077, you can currently have a male body frame and female pronouns because the pronouns are linked to the voice choice, which in and itself really sucks. Because it's still very binary. It's still either male or female, and I feel like, would it be possible for them to implement those changes? Yes. Is it something as simple as a click of a button? Having not a whole lot of experience in development, but realizing how core systems work, I don't think it's something as simple as just switching a button, because the way that they've structured the game and structured the models around a masculine frame or a feminine frame versus where Sims has this very complex character modeling system where everything can be scaled. I think if they put some development time into creating something like that into even if it's not Cyberpunk 2077, if CD Projekt Red decides, or figures out a way to get that sliding scale character frame or mapping implemented in one of their future games, that would be cool. But I also think that they need to have that sliding scale thing for the voice, and not have gender identity linked to the voice, and have something in there that is also possibly androgynous, and have are they them pronouns.
Yes.
Just as a bare minimum.
Big yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Very much agree with that. Yeah, I hope that like this is one of those games, because like you said, you forgot about The Sims exist.
Yeah, I completely forgot about The
It's-
Sims. And the sad part is, I used to watch one of my favorite YouTubers play The Sims 4 all the time, like doing weird stuff on that game.
It's
Okay,
so
you
much
definitely
fun.
need to turn in your gamer card now.
Hand it over.
But
We
Give
will.
it to Smog, and they will
Yay!
give it to Smog, and they will return it to you when you redeem yourself.
But yeah, like The Sims isn't for everybody, obviously, and
Right.
Cyberpunk isn't for everybody either. But it's more, quote unquote, I don't know how to put it. Like The Sims is casual gaming. You're like, I'm building a world. This is fun. Where Cyberpunk is
Yeah.
like, this is amazing, crazy graphics. Da, 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 from what I've
Yeah,
seen.
brap, brap, brap.
And so like, it's great as a jumping off point. And if we keep talking about this stuff and not boycotting Cyberpunk 2077, but being like, hey, great jumping off point. So next time, don't care what game it is, don't care what gaming group, company, I don't care. We have non-binary people. And so then the next company or game or whatever will be like, okay, we hear you. You're making a lot of sense. And then we can keep going. Because it seems like they're doing a lot of good stuff from what I'm hearing. So to just completely discount that good work would kind of be not helpful.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I wish we could just be like, no, fix it, make it perfect. I wish this world could be perfect, but like we still have a lot of work to do in a lot of places.
We would be in a leftist utopia at that
So,
point.
so long as we
Oh
have
man.
so long as we have game companies like Bethesda, we will never have a perfect video game.
Oh, my little Fallout 4 heart is.
I mean, let's not just single out Bethesda. Let's be honest here. I mean, let's look
know-
at EA.
EA,
God.
yeah,
We're
they
talking
do have
about
some
one of
pretty
the
wacky
worst video
glitches.
gaming companies out there. EA is by far the worst.
Yeah, speaking of The Sims, I got everything at more than half off, and I still spent too much money on on
So much
not
money.
even all of the Sims 4 content, and still it was like a couple $100. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
say exactly how many monies.
Yeah, if you're basing your games off of the microtransaction platforms, but they're actually macro transactions, and it's like a full $50 to $60 per DLC,
Yeah,
no.
that's
Yeah.
some bull. That's some bullshit.
And
I'm
I
not-
fall
I'm
for
still-
it
I'm
every
still
time.
I'm still gonna buy it. I'm still gonna buy it and hate myself, but I'm gonna wait for a sale.
Okay, see, I would consider
Oh.
Skyrim pretty perfect too, with some of their glitches there, Boots. You know, the
Yeah.
rocket to the moon with the giants. Oh my god, I got
I
stuck
still
in an
get,
autosave loop because of that.
I still get great joy out of loading up Skyrim and watching dragon skeletons twerk down the side of a mountain. You know, it's just the
Good
best
stuff.
thing.
On my Xbox 360, I had gotten caught in an autosave death loop of being rocketed to the moon by the giants.
Oh no!
I had to completely start over
Oh.
the entire game because of it.
That's no good. That is no good.
It was beautiful.
So, cyberpunk aside, let's talk about some other, some positive representations and stuff that we've had, because I think cyberpunk has done a pretty good job. Nothing's perfect, but you know who I do think did a good job is Netflix with Elliot Page.
Oh, yeah.
And how as soon as Elliot Page came out, they went through and they changed all their credits.
Yep.
That's dope as hell.
Hell yes.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Really,
I mean-
really amazing.
Yeah. And like the films themselves, they're not going to be able to go back in and change all of that
Not in
stuff.
the credits.
Not
the
not in
end
the credits or anything like that, but at least on the display credits and anywhere where Elliot's dead name was present, they switched it like almost immediately. So that was super cool.
Yeah.
Like Wikipedia, IMDb, as soon as he came out, they're like boop boop, changed it. Which
Bam,
is
got it.
Really
Right.
great. And
Well-
yeah.
Did I thought Elliot came out as non-binary with the pronouns they them. Is it
Oh.
he they though? I
I-
don't.
I was hearing, I'll look it up because I don't want to be wrong.
Yeah, let's look it up so we make sure that we're not misgendering them.
I mean,
or him.
Yeah.
I do have something.
It's he. It's he, him.
Is it he him? Okay.
The page announces he is transgender.
Right, but
Okay.
but I know that there are several people that use multiple pronouns,
Yeah.
not just specifically. I thought Elliot came out as non-binary with a he they.
Okay, here we go. Social media followers saying, "Hi friends, I want to share with you that I am trans. My pronouns are he, they, and my name is Elliot. I feel lucky to be writing this, to be here, to have arrived at this place in my life. I feel overwhelming gratitude for the incredible people who have supported me along in this journey. I can't begin to express how remarkable it feels to finally love who I am enough to pursue my authentic self. I have been endlessly inspired by so many in the trans community. Thank you for your courage, your generosity, and ceaselessly working to make this world a more inclusive and compassionate place. I will offer whatever support I can and continue to strive for a more loving and equal society." Yeah. Elliot Page.
Yeah. So it is he, they, and all
Yes.
the news outlets are just saying he, which is interesting. Like I'm seeing no one mention they, them, except for Elliot themselves, which is interesting.
Right,
the
like
least. I'm like, we're getting there. We're working
Right.
on it.
and I'd seen one news outlet that it was a video update about it, and it was, I want to say, CNBC, where they just took the Instagram post and they just did like the zoom in on certain sections and everything like that, But even like the Vanity Fair article, like that we were sharing in the Trans Twitch Network Discord and other places, just said he him.
So
the
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I
You know-
learned about this secondhand, which is why I was like, "Oh, he him," because I didn't see their Instagram post. I just saw like all these headlines and people on, because I'm on TikTok. Please don't hate me. um, and
No,
so I just
you're
saw-
okay. We don't hate on TikTok.
Some of it's a mess. Some of it's not great.
TikTok's
but
a
Some
beautiful
of it,
mess.
yeah.
I mean, hey, you could say that about Twitch, though.
Twitch,
say it about most of the internet. for sure.
Exactly. Some
Twitch,
of
we
it's
love you.
a
Amazon,
mess.
you don't give us enough money.
That
But,
actually
yeah.
fits more with Twitter than anything else right now.
Truly.
God,
Yeah.
I don't even
So-
use my
Twitter's
Twitter.
the
I have a Twitter
worst.
set up for this channel, and I don't even use it.
Same.
I forget I have
a
it.
theory as to why most of these places are just saying he though, and probably as to, well, not necessarily speaking for Elliot, but just in my own experience as a non-binary person, getting people to say they them, and not to just reflexively use a gender, often based on voice. At a certain point, you just go, whatever. Like, just okay, that's fine. Like, you just give up.
Right. You
'Cause-
shouldn't have to. Like that's
No.
that's my thing is you absolutely shouldn't have to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, and for me personally, I am very ambivalent to what pronouns are used. I kind of like it if you throw a little bit of everything at me every once in a while. Like, that makes me feel good. It lets me know that I kind of like am a fluid person across this like spectrum of gender, because what my experience is. That's my life, right? But like forcing anybody to like use a pronoun for me, like I shouldn't have had to give up on that, but I kind of did. Which, it is what it is.
It's tricky. Yeah. Because as a society we're so ingrained in gender, so as soon as Elliot was like, yeah, they're like, he,
Yeah, and that's
Right.
what they
that
clung
makes
to.
sense.
And
And
see,
so they just ran with it.
Right.
Yeah. Because they're like, I know what
Um,
that is.
And that's as a society, globally, we always, well, and this may be, so let me back up a little bit because I got ahead of myself in speaking and everything. I know in Western society, and this was especially true for those of us who are the older millennials, um, the late 30s and early 40s millennials. Um, we were brought up to, if you don't know the person's gender, and this is a big talking point back in the 80s and 90s. If you don't know the person's gender, you default to he, him. That's problematic in and itself, right?
Totally.
Like, so one thing that my spouse and I have been trying to reinforce with our kids is, if you don't know their gender identity, you go with they them pronouns as a default, because they may identify as male, they may identify as female, they may identify as non-binary, gender fluid. It's a spectrum. So they them works better as a default than he, him, she, her, whatever, right?
It's crazy. I was just thinking about whenever I'm in the car and I interact with a bad driver, I look at their car and then I gender them based on the car that they're driving. Because I was raised by a car guy, so like I'm
Yep,
like, oh, that's
same.
a lady car and that's
Oh,
a man
salad.
car. So I'm just thinking about that. I'm like, I gotta stop doing that.
I am the daughter of a mechanic.
It's hard because it's not always true, right? Like, it doesn't matter what car you're driving. You could be driving a pink Jeep and you could be a man. Like, it doesn't matter. But in
Raised
my
believing
brain,
that a Mazda Miata is a chick car. A
yeah,
Volkswagen
Yeah.
Beetle is a chick car.
Well,
Exactly.
being a mechanic and an automotive diagnostic technician myself for way too many years, that was that's definitely I can say that that's definitely a hyper dude bro kind of point of view, because I never, dealing with cars, for me it was always Mazda Miata sucks because I can't fit in it. I'm 6'2". Um, it's a tiny ass car.
It is.
I
It
can't
really
drive it.
is.
I can't. Yeah, like it. And I never, and this is just me personally. I never saw any kind of particular vehicle as more masculine or feminine. Um, I do feel like the tiny penis trucks are kind of indicative of toxic masculinity and Merca type people, but yeah, I never looked at like a Volkswagen Beetle and said, oh, that's a chick car, or Mazda Miata and said, oh, that's a chick car, or um, you know.
I'm gonna clarify why I was laughing just a second ago. I'm laughing at Boots' comment.
Oh.
I saw that pop
Oh
up
my
and
God.
I could not.
Oh gosh.
Smuffle got a type. Smuffle know what Smuffle like.
Yeah, it's weird because on the road, I'm like, oh, that's a girl car. But then if I see a woman in I don't know, what's a quote unquote a Mustang, I'm not like, what? I'm like, oh, cool, okay.
I don't know. I
Must
think
be a gas guzzler. Like, it's so weird because when I'm angry, I revert to like that dude bro mentality of like, your gender is who you are based off of everything in your car, and you stupid. And then when I'm just chilling, casual, I'm like, who cares?
I don't know. I think the newer Mustangs are usually depicted as a chick car anymore because of freaking media.
Oh yeah,
Almost every rich girl in every TV show or movie has a Mustang.
That's been like that since the 90s though, because
Yes.
that was the thing. Like when they dropped off the 5.0 liter from the Mustang, and they still made it like more sleek and sexier and everything like that. All like there were so many 1997 and the year that I graduated high school, there were so many 1996 and 1997 Ford Mustangs with the 3.6 liter in them, and every single one of them was driven by one of my female classmates.
Oh God, I think I'm a baby. I think I'm the baby here in this group. I was born in '96.
Oh, yep.
Yep.
All right, I'm gonna lurk for the rest of the podcast. Thank you.
Oh, God.
I'm sorry. I just heard you
No,
mention
no.
graduated 96, 97. I'm sitting here. Wait a minute.
No,
Wait
no.
a minute. I am the youngest.
I'm almost 30. I'm almost 30 at this
I am
point
only
in my life.
24.
Oh, little
Oh,
baby.
Oh, that's so cute.
Sweet
So
Babu.
baby,
I'm not gonna
2
do
years
that. I'm not.
older.
I'm not gonna do that.
So much
I'm like-
life ahead of you. I remember when I was young and beautiful. Young and beautiful.
Me, young and beautiful. That's funny. That's funny.
Da-da-da.
Listen, there's a reason, and I hide behind.
I just screwed up
Who
my
I
hair
am.
swoosh.
Okay, I have a
speaking
question.
of age, go for
Oh,
question.
Oh no, go ahead,
I was just gonna
Salad.
say,
I was
speaking of
yeah.
age and transitioning and stuff, and being at an Elliot Page, like Elliot Page, I guess I'm gonna use Caitlyn Jenner as an example. Like Caitlyn Jenner has her faults as a human being.
Niss's face.
She's not an icon, but she had to like come out so late in life because she felt like she couldn't be herself for so long based off of her age and society and blah, blah. But Elliot, like, even though she's, not born in 96, they can come out now, and it's like, it's really great that he can come out at a younger age. Sorry, I misgendered him.
You definitely have a very good point there. for somebody who just turned 40 this year, um, I definitely think that we're at a better point in society now than we used to be. Even when Caitlyn Jenner came out, I can't imagine going through that back then. For myself, um, seeing more people coming out and basically me realizing that that's not something to be ashamed of or look down upon definitely helped me. Do I think that I still would have been able to do this 5 years ago? Probably not. 10 years ago? Absolutely not. Like no way in hell. Um, so more to that point, I think that's a very good step in the right direction that we've taken as a society.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Um, that's actually a really good transition point into talking about ourselves here. But I just have one last question about Elliot Page before we continue. What does the future of the Umbrella Academy look like with Elliot Page and his character that he plays there?
So, oh, go ahead.
From what I was reading, he will still be playing Vanya. And the reason why I think that's actually kind of cool is because Vanya has always felt like a character that's supposed to be non-binary.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't know how much.
Even in the graphic novel, um, Vanya feels like a non-binary character.
I don't
Yeah,
know how
very
much
much so,
anyone
from the
here has
way-
seen of it. I have seen both seasons.
I've seen both seasons, and I read both the first two graphic novels.
I hate to admit this, but I watched the whole second season in one day.
I actually haven't finished the second season. I've just been really distracted by like life things and plans. But I really want to finish it. I've read the graphic novels. I was a My Chemical Romance kid back in the day, and I literally sat for hours waiting to try and get a ticket to the reunion show. Hours, and I almost got through, put in all my information, hit the button, and then I didn't get it. It was like it errored out, and then it was done, and I think I cried for at least a day. That's so I've read Gerard Way stuff, is what I'm saying.
Yes. Yeah, and I was gonna say Gerard Way seems like a really chill person who's, I think he has a hand in the show as well because he made the comics. So I feel like he would push to be like, Vanya is now non-binary. The end. We're not even going to discuss it. There's going to be no scene where that happens.
Yeah.
It just happens, and we're done.
I did
Yeah,
read an
Like
article.
that would be super cool if it was just like, all right, this is canon now because I said so.
Yeah, and we don't have to like make a whole big episode about it. It's just like, it is okay, great, goodbye.
I did read an article about it, and for at least the first season, Gerard Way was definitely involved. So I'm sure he was involved with the second season as well, and is still involved.
I mean, the Umbrella Academy has been his baby for a
Years.
long time. Like, even when he was doing MCR, what he wanted to be doing was the Umbrella Academy and like being an artist dude, and like it just so happened that he, fell into this singing thing and got popular. Like I don't think that was ever what he wanted to do.
My ear's crooked. My ears don't seem straight. Sorry, that was really freaking random.
Oh, Gerard.
Oh yes.
What a beautiful man. So beautiful. Yeah, I am gender fluid, like Smog, but of the same sort of feeling of like, Like if I get TikTok comments where people are like, "Are you a boy or a girl?" I'm like, "Oh my god, what? You think I'm a boy or a girl?
Yay!
You don't know?
Yay!
You."
Finally! God, I've worked so hard for so long.
And it
Yes! They're
feels
like,
it feels so
"Fine."
nice just going to work sometimes
Validation.
and
Yeah,
Validation for sure.
yeah,
They're
and
like,
it's like,
"No,
of
I'm
course,
trying
a
to
lot of
insult
times
you."
they're being shitty with their comment, and you're just like, no, it feeds me.
Yes. I look down at my fully hairy legs and I'm like, "Thank you for noticing."
Yes,
Um,
that is
but-
such a mood.
So whenever I see like I don't have specific pronouns or I don't feel attached to they them. I do like sticking with she her because I like being being a woman feels like the biggest fuck you to the patriarchy. I don't know. Where I'm like and it also I'm constantly underestimated, which is great because then I can just show up and be amazing, and they're like, "What?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you thought." Anyway, so I see non-binary characters portrayed not very often, and I'm like, "This is great." And I really just want it to be that. I just want them to show up and be non-binary, and that's it. I don't want a big show. I don't want a whole big backstory thing, whatever. Like, just be, because that's how it is in real life. And if the story is not based around like coming out and being your authentic self, then just don't include that. And that's my opinion. I don't know if you guys share
Right.
that opinion.
No. I definitely agree with you on that. Like, I would love to see more, not just transgender characters, but also non-binary characters. And I mean, for myself, I identify as as female. I'm transgender woman. I definitely don't really consider any of my. I don't like any of my masculine traits, and in fact, my voice I absolutely hate. So, um, I think the important thing is the not just having more of those characters, but not making the story just about them being transgender. Like the transgender thing could be brought up, but that doesn't need that shouldn't define the character.
Yeah.
If that
Yeah.
makes sense. Like the
Totally.
story
Yeah.
is about this, it just happens to have a transgender or non-binary character in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Weirdly, Grey's Anatomy did that kind of well. I have feelings about Grey's Anatomy, but it's my
I've
guilty
never seen
pleasure.
Grey's Anatomy.
I've
Don't.
watched clips of Grey's Anatomy.
It's a
but-
doctor surgery show that's very overdramatic and never represents diabetes correctly, which frustrates me because it's the easiest disability to research. Anyway, so there was this character for a while. He's gone now, which I'm kind of bummed about because I really liked him. But he was you don't find out he comes in as an intern. You don't find out he's trans until like halfway through the season, and then it's mentioned once offhand, and then no one mentions it again. And his whole personality is that he used to be a soldier, and that's it. He's a good doctor, and he's a soldier. Like nothing. It doesn't come up again. It came up once, and everybody moved on, and nobody cared. Not nobody cared. People were like, "Oh, okay." Anyway, back to
perfect.
surgery, and I was like, "Yes, what? Why am I saying that Grey's Anatomy is the best representation? You guys have messed up so many times."
Oh.
Like
And,
like if that's your shining beacon of this type of situation, y'all really have some fucking work to do.
Exactly. I'm like, yeah, what the hell? But it was so great, and I got so excited because I'm like, yes, I do care. Good for you, but also I don't care. I just like your character because your character is cool. Like, yeah, and they wrote, and it was actually played by a transgender actor too, so it was representation on top of representation. So it was like, yes. But still, Grey's Anatomy, like, we got to do better.
Yes.
Just,
I don't
just-
know if anyone here has seen Queen's Gambit on Netflix. Really good if you haven't. It's like a chess show, but it's a drama, and it really has nothing to do with chess and more to do with this amazing badass woman and her like really traumatic life. But the choir teacher of the orphanage that she basically grows up in is a trans woman, like the actual actress playing the character,
Oh.
and it's like never talked about. It's not like a thing. It's just there she is. Hello, and we're moving on. Like, and that's just another instance of like that was a trans woman getting a role in a pretty like major show that has received a lot of like good reviews and feedback and stuff. So just like more instances of these major kind of networks finally starting to take these steps towards like hiring more people that are, you know, not just cishet. And it's I don't know. I think we're starting to finally move towards a trend of things getting better. Like Nis was saying with like, you know, the timing of even ourselves and being out, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it's
It's
really
good shit. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. It's good. It's like we're finally. It's about friggin' time.
yeah.
It is.
And I'm not discounting like Orange is the New Black talking about transgender issues because that was important. Like talking about even though again, no show is perfect. But
Right.
having
Yeah.
Nothing is perfect.
but being in prison and being a transgender woman is definitely trickier than being a cis woman in prison. So that was important to talk about if we were going to talk about real themes in that show. So not discounting that, but we've seen that show. It's very sad.
I
I'd
have
like to not be
seen
sad
it.
every time I see representation. Okay, we haven't all seen
Yeah.
it, but I want to be like happy and normal and feel like this is just life, and I don't have to be sad about my existence every 2 seconds.
Yup.
Or like I have to be like, oh yeah, my life is such a struggle, and it's like, yeah, it was, it has been, it is, but I want to be like most of the time it's fine.
That's you really you brought up a good point, Salad. Where we talk about um, my life is a constant struggle. Um, for myself, that's something that I have to remind myself about all the time. It's not my life currently is a constant struggle. It is, but my life before coming out, the struggle there, so much harder,
Mm-hmm.
so much worse than the struggle that I currently go through with certain things that honestly, for lack of a better term, just trigger me. Um, so yeah, I mean that's something that I try to remind myself every morning. It's better today than it was yesterday, or it's better today than it was 2 years ago or 3 years ago. I'm not that angry Marine Corps veteran that flies off the handle and gets. I mean, people on the road piss me off just because they're shitty drivers. But I'm not that person that gets road rage and wants to start throwing things at people's car as I pass them by, mean mugging them.
Which
Yeah.
is good. That's an improvement, I would say.
Yes,
Like you were
definitely.
saying, like it's today is not as bad as it was yesterday, and the same can be said of tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
It
Right.
just means tomorrow is going to be just even if it's like a tiny step better, it's still better.
Yeah. I have a
Yeah.
question because I am a cis woman mostly. Eh. um, have any of you seen any like films representing transgender, like the transitioning um part of being transgender, and looked at it and seen that the person before they transitioned was struggling way more than like right in the middle? I'm thinking of Dakota no, Elle Fanning was in something where she like a movie where she transitioned from female to male, and I don't remember it being depicted as like, oh, she really had she was struggling so hard in the beginning, and then it shows most of the struggle happening in the middle. And I'm
Well,
just wondering if that is like because I haven't experienced that. If that feels authentic, or if you wish that they showed more struggle when the person wasn't themselves.
I haven't necessarily seen anything like that per se. Mostly what we see is the villainization of trans people in movies and TV shows where they're doing something shady or underhanded or villainous, or they're um, the the serial murderer or something like that,
Or
and
the
we typically
prostitute that tricked you. Yeah.
right, or
Yeah.
or the prostitute that
Yep.
tricked you, or something like that. I mean, that's typically what we see in movies and television, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's really when you look at that and you really try and unpack those characters, and that's what it comes down to at the core of it. It's really hard to look at anything else in that story and say, okay, well, was this character um, better towards the end after they start, because they don't really show those stories that much.
Yeah.
Now there is the movie Transhood, and I don't know if anybody else in this in here has seen that yet.
I have
No.
not.
Okay, so it's actually, let me just double check this. It's a movie that came out on HBO Max.
And that's why I haven't
Um,
seen it.
That's why you probably haven't seen it. But it follows the story of several transgender kids in um, America's heartland, mostly in Kentucky, um, and it follows their story intermittently. And there are some good points about it, and there are some bad points about it. And there are characters in there where you're just like, oh, you probably shouldn't have done that. Not so much with the kids that are going through transition, but the parents. The some of the parents in there, I wanted to reach through the television and just strangle. Um, but I highly recommend, if it ever comes off of HBO Max and comes over to another platform, I highly encourage anybody, especially in the LGBTQ community, to watch it. It also, one of the kids that it follows um, in the movie was oh, what's her name, Avery, who was featured on the cover and a major story in National Geographic a couple years back.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, so she's one of the children that um, that is covered in this docu. It's not really a docudrama. It's definitely more documentary esque. Um, but yeah, it was very well done. Some of the parents and some of the other people that were involved in it, I wanted to strangle. Um, but yeah, that, I think, just to answer Salad's question, that one definitely addresses some of the things where it's like before, during, and you don't really so much get an after transition, because again, this one is more to do with kids. None of them are actually having SRS or anything like that. Um, so yeah,
Cool.
And yeah, plot's pretty right on the nose there. Movie parents are always either horrible or unrealistically perfect.
Speaking
right.
of parents,
Truly.
that's always a sensitive issue for our community. Let's dig deep. Let's talk parents.
I have one parent
how'd
that I
that go
do
for
not
everybody?
have words for.
You what? Who?
I have one parent that I do not have words for, and I will not be talking about her.
That's totally
Okay.
fine. Only
Totally
share like
valid.
what you're comfortable with. Definitely.
Yeah. I'm an oversharer, so I'll go first.
Thanks, because I feel like I've been talking too much and I should probably shut up. I want to let
No,
somebody else
Miss.
talk.
I'm really enjoying like listening to you lay down knowledge. It's awesome. But yes,
Yes.
Salad, please first.
So I guess we're talking about like coming out to our lovely parentals. So I've been out for 10 years in some form or another. I first came out as bi, and that was when I was 15, so more, actually 11 years. And then I came out as pan when I was 18, I think. And now I'm like, oh, I might just be a lesbian. Might just be a lesbian. But when I first came out as bi to my parents, I was really nervous because I was raised Christian, but I was raised what I like to call hippie Christian, where it was like, God loves you. That's it, period. Goodbye. There's nothing extra. Don't worry about it. Hell, we don't know her. So my parents were big Deadheads in the 90s, super hippy dippy. They were 12 years apart in age, and my mom lived through the AIDS epidemic, so in California. So I say lived through because her boyfriend made some interesting choices with her. I won't get too into it because it's her story, not mine, but yeah. Anyway, so so I sit down with my parents at my dinner table, and I'm like, hey, bye. And my dad goes, what does that mean? I'm like, it means I like people, like I like every gender. And at the time it was 2009. I'm also a baby. And I didn't have any. I grew up in a really small town, so I didn't have any experience with non-binary people at that time, which is why I then felt like I needed to switch to pansexual. Now I realize I really didn't need to do that, but again, small town. So I was like, I like girls and boys. And my dad was like, okay, cool, whatever. And my mom sort of looked at me for a long time, and she was like, well, we'll see. Which was fun. That was a fun thing to hear, for sure. And then I brought a girl home, and she went, oh, okay, wait, a second. But what ended up being really interesting is I found out sort of later on that my dad is actually pretty, like, he's like a closet homophobe. He's one of those liberal guys who's like, I'm liberal, except I still say horribly offensive things, but I'm still liberal. And I'm like, that's not how that works.
So he's a libertarian and not a liberal.
He thinks he's a socialist, but really he's just an old man who doesn't want people to hate him. So I don't know what that is. yeah.
That's libertarian. I mean, we won't get into a politics discussion.
Please don't politics.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, he says he wants people to have rights, and I'm like, right, and he's like, yeah, but do they really need all? I'm like,
what? Wait a minute.
Just because we're fighting for something that you have doesn't mean that it's going to be taken away from you to be given to me.
Yeah.
Like it's like a photocopy. It's not the original. I don't need the original documents. If you could just photocopy your rights over to me, I'd really appreciate it. If you could just data seed your like if I could torrent your rights, please.
The original copy is old and nasty, has coffee and several other questionable stains on it. I don't want it. Thank you.
I don't want that. Thank you so much.
I just want my own fresh, clean, delicious copy. You know, I'm still gonna have to copy those stains, but you know, at least I don't have to touch them.
Exactly.
No,
Yeah,
the copier's got to do that.
His views are interesting because he's like, yeah, you know, marry who you want, whatever, I don't care. But then it's not truly I don't care. It's, but can you just shut up about it? I'm like, well, no, because it's not just, oh yeah, I want to marry who I want to marry. It's rights. It's the right to like decide what happens if my partner is hurt. Like, it's not just about marrying who you want to marry. Dad, anyway.
The same guy who's telling you to shut up about it is also the guy who like comes up to you and is like, well, why didn't you ask me you needed help? Squeaky wheel doesn't get the oil.
Oh, completely.
I fucking hate that phrase.
Oh, it's a good time. It's a good time.
Yeah, it's a good time. We had an interesting conversation last weekend about people being too sensitive about comedy now, and I was like, no, we're not.
No,
but that's
no,
that you think that. Yeah.
There was one person on TikTok
it's adorable that you think that.
I unfollowed after one of his newer videos. Like,
Oof.
yeah, no, that was
Yeah.
way too far.
Yeah, everybody
Oy.
has a line, and that's valid. We've always had a line. You just didn't listen to us when we said we had a line before. Anyway, the point is,
I mean, yeah. The
Like-
key thing is you got to be punching up. If you're not punching
Yeah.
up, then it's just not funny. Then you're just making fun of people.
yeah.
Then you're just
His-
an asshole. Like,
Oh, exactly. But his favorite excuse is, he's like, "Well, Richard Pryor said the N-word." I'm like,
wait
"Richard
a minute.
Pryor is black."
What?
I'm like,
Richard Pryor is your standard for? No, hold up. Wait a minute.
I
Take
wish
my
I
cup.
was-
Put some
I wish
liquor
I
in
was
it.
making this up. I wish I was.
God.
He looked in my eyes and said, "Well, Richard Pryor said the N-word all the time." I was like, "Dad,
Oh my god.
he can say that word. Are you on crack?" And he's like, "Well, what about Blazing
Oh,
Saddles?"
man.
I'm like, "You mean the movie that Richard Pryor wrote?" Anyway, sorry.
And Mel Brooks even came out and said that if he hadn't made that movie when he did, he would have never been able to make it.
Exactly, and he's like, "For good reason."
Holy
probably.
snapsicles.
Yeah. So my dad he like seemed really okay with it when I was younger because it didn't really affect him because I kept dating guys because I had to. Like I really didn't. Small town. I
Yep.
was very lonely. I was like, "Well, you have long hair. That's something." But I
Well, that just
identify
kind of
as
goes along
feminine.
those. That just kind of goes along those lines where, it, if you make those kind of jokes and you get backlash, you need to own up to it. You need to have accountability.
Yeah.
You can't be like she who must not be named
Ugh.
and double down on your bigotry, and then like if you're not part of that community, you don't get to say, "Oh, that's not transphobic," or "That's not racist," or "That's not ableist."
Yeah.
You, as a cisgendered, white, well-abled person, can't say anything to me about what's considered transphobic, what's considered racist. I mean, yes, I'm white, but you can't tell me, something's not racist. You can't tell me that something's not ableist, because you don't know. You literally can't comprehend that. So if people from that community are saying, "Hey, you need to stop that because it's not okay," you don't fucking double down on it. And then you have other people, and I'm, kind of getting on a soapbox again here a little bit, but I was very, very disappointed with John Cleese when he
Ugh.
basically came to her defense, and then he doubled down with, "Oh, well, it's just a joke, and you all need to understand comedy."
Yeah, it's
You,
like, no,
as a
listen,
person,
we've
yeah,
seen, yeah, we've seen the kind of shit you put on Monty Python, and don't get me wrong, I love some of the sketches in Monty Python, and then you have some other ones with
right.
the cast members in full blackface, and it's like, okay, no,
Did not
no.
age well. Shouldn't
No.
have happened then, but also did not age well.
Correct.
Yeah, I got pretty mad at John Cleese on Twitter. I kind of yelled at him because he posted something in June, May and June
Yep.
of this year, and he was like, "Oh, really? We're tearing down statues now of people who had slaves. Everybody had slaves back then. What, are you going to tear down a statue of Socrates?" And I
Yes.
Yes.
responded with a tweet, and I said, "Yes, he was inappropriate with children. Like, picked
Yeah.
a weird guy to back my
Yeah.
dude."
This
Like-
is the hill that you're gonna die on. This one right
Yeah.
here.
This is a weird hill to die on, my guy.
Yeah, small
yeah.
hill, not worth much.
Nope. You could have picked literally anyone else, but no.
Oh, man.
Yeah, no. My dad isn't. He was born in '58, so. But like, I'm saying that just as context, not as an excuse, because
Right.
I don't think age is an excuse. For example, his mother, who died last year at the ripe old age of 98, she said some stuff to me that wasn't exactly right, but was on the right path. Like, she got it. Like, she was obsessed with Ellen DeGeneres. Obsessed. And again,
Oh,
Ellen
no.
DeGeneres, not the best
Oh, God.
person. I'm really, this is going to sound really bad, but I'm really glad that my grandmother passed away before she found out Ellen was a bad person.
Oh, God.
I know that's not right to say, but
Oh,
like,
no. Oh, man. Oh,
no.
brutal. she is watching over your shoulder as a
no.
ghost right now. Like,
Wait, what?
I
She
know
would've
all
been
about
so
Ellen
upset.
DeGeneres and her degeneracy.
She would have been so upset. My grandmother missed the Spanish flu and COVID. She just was squished right in between two pandemics. Isn't that crazy?
Lucky
Anyway,
bitch.
so when I'm driving her, I never came out to her because I was never really sure, and also she had a terrible memory at that point, and it just wasn't gonna. I didn't want to keep coming out to her every 5 seconds. I was like, I just won't until it's necessary.
Yeah.
I just won't.
Yeah.
So, and that's the choice everybody gets to make on their own. I'm not saying anybody else has to do that. That was just my view on that. And it wasn't like she was not gonna love me. It was just gonna be weird and complicated. And I was like, you know what? She's old, and I love her dearly, but I'm just not ready to have that conversation. So we're driving along, and she's like, Ellen is the gift from God. She gives everybody cars and
thought that was
toasters,
Oprah.
and like she's just so great.
Yeah, so does Oprah, right? Thanks.
So again, my grandmother, 98, born in 21. She wasn't racist. I'll give you that. But she did, prefer. Anyway, point is, she's like, Ellen's just the best. Ellen's just the best. And I was like, oh yeah. And I look over and I'm like, well, you know that Ellen's married to a woman. And my grandmother's like, yeah.
A car.
So she's like, yeah, so? And I'm like, oh, you're right. My bad. She was like, why does that even matter? I'm like, it doesn't matter. Why did I even bring it up? What? What are we talking about? She was so mad at me for being like, well, Ellen's a lesbian. Which
She's like, yeah, what are you trying to pull over on me here? I already know.
we've been like, what are you talking
What are
about?
you trying to say about me? You trying to start something?
Are you trying to tell me something right now? Yeah. So
Catch these hands.
So she would have.
Yeah,
Like,
she
what,
would have
fight?
let go of the steering wheel and just bopped you one.
Oh no, I was driving. She should not have been driving.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense.
But still, she would have bought me. Should have been like,
Yeah,
"Listen
right while
here,
you're
little
driving,
miss."
send you to the next lane. Who cares?
Exactly. She's been like, don't you dare say that about my best friend Ellen. How dare you? So, and like, she truly meant it. Like, she truly was like, that doesn't matter at all because she does nice things for people. And I'm like, right, nice people can just be nice and doesn't matter about anything else. And she's like, yeah, exactly. And she goes, anyway, it changes the subject. Whereas my lovely father like needs to bring up controversial topics with me every weekend. And now my mom, who in the beginning was like, yeah, right, you've been obsessed with boys your entire life. And I'm like, just because I wanted to be a Disney princess doesn't mean I was obsessed with boys. It was just part of the package deal. Now she's like, yeah, all right, well, cool, whatever. You're
Well, yeah,
lesbian.
she kind of has to deal with it now.
Yeah, and she's fine with it, and she's like a very big advocate, and will come to me like the other day. She texted me and she goes, "Okay, what do all the letters stand for in LGBTQYA?" And I'm like, "Well,
YA.
no,
YA?
She said YA, and I was like, "You mean IA?" And she's like, "I don't know."
IDK'd. Help me.
And so I was like, so I listed them all out for her. She was like, okay, I don't want to miss any. And I was like, so if you get overwhelmed, you can just say queer community. And she's like, okay. And like, I think she's really uncomfortable with the word queer because for a long time it was not a kosher word.
Yes.
So,
and that's part of my experience, even growing up. In the 80s, even in the 80s and 90s, queer was still used with a lot of negative connotation, especially even still in the San Francisco Bay Area, because that's where I grew up. So like even in that area, queer was still used with, like I said, was still used with lots of negative connotation, and was a derogatory term that people still used about gay and lesbian people.
yeah. Yeah. And oh my gosh, in the Bay Area too. That's crazy. That seems so wild to me because we excuse me, I burped.
Thank you. Wow.
My fiance and I lived in the Bay Area for a hot minute, and I never felt more open to be whatever I wanted there. And this was in 2016. So for like 2 months, and I felt like that, and then election, then I was like, I can't be anything now. But yeah, it just seems so crazy that the Bay Area was even back, like even not that far back in the 80s and 90s, that it was like, no, keep your
Yeah.
gay away from me. That's kind of crazy, because it just seems like
because
such
there was still the stigma with the AIDS and HIV being
yeah,
very rampant in those communities.
yeah. Oh, especially there. Yeah. Jeez Louise.
Yeah, it is interesting. Like, for myself and my partner, my wife is a trans woman, and like we're a little bit nomadic. We tend to like move a lot, and lately it's like, oh God, where could we even move to that's safe anymore? That isn't just like somewhere in California or California. But like maybe parts of Oregon because we're white passing. So, like we'd probably be safe, but then my stepfather would never be able to visit. It's just like it's awkward. It's this really awkward situation that we get put in with like, wow, our gender identity determines like where we're allowed to exist in the world. Like,
Yeah,
Totally.
exactly.
can we even travel to other countries and not be discriminated against? Will we have to wear certain clothing so that we pass a certain way and not be authentic to ourselves if we want to go to different places? Like, it really sucks.
Yeah. It's funny you mention that because myself and my spouse have been researching that a lot recently. Especially with the most recent election cycle. Like we look at California and we keep seeing these articles about all of these people leaving California in droves because it's too progressive. And I'm looking at this last voting cycle. I'm just like, what do you mean it's too progressive? It's not fucking progressive enough.
It's only progressive in small areas of denser population along the coast.
Yes.
California, people fail to realize, is a very large state. And basically, if you're not in one of the major cities, if you are in the outlying communities, it is very, very much a red state. If,
Yeah.
like,
Yes.
okay, you look at Los Angeles. Okay, Los Angeles, pretty damn blue, right? Very much like you'd consider it very progressive, very safe for like the LGBT community. And then 2 hours away, you have Bakersville, which is the
Oh
fucking
God.
armpit of California, which we have had multiple issues of like people being strung up in front of the courthouse and lynched, and it
Oh my
being
God.
ruled a suicide. Like, and
Yeah.
it's the good old boys club just over there,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh my God, we could leave our city and get targeted and taken down.
Yes. Yeah.
Completely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
During a family vacation recently, driving out of California going towards Arizona, I was with my mother and stepfather and my wife, um, and my stepdad is black, and we get to a stop before we even leave California, and the woman at the gas station is like, oh, where are you guys going? I'm like, oh yeah, family vacation, blah blah blah. And she looks at my stepdad and she's like, oh, and is that your driver?
Excuse
Ew.
the fuck out of me.
Ew.
And this is in California, modern day, fucking 2020,
What?
baby.
What?
So yeah, like,
Oh my
you know,
God.
I feel like we've really built this awesome community on the internet where we feel safe and we start to get really really comfortable, and then you step back out into the real world and something happens that just slaps you right back to reality, and you're like, holy shit, I'm not safe.
Can I go back to my
Totally.
game
Yeah.
world now?
Yeah, and it's just time to go back home. Like, it's really it sucks.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Sorry, I
'cause-
didn't mean to like get on this like
No,
sad
no,
tangent
you're
here.
good,
I
you're
really I
good.
apologize. I was just
That's what
like,
we're doing this for.
Yeah.
yeah,
that's
I mean, it's
real-
just, yeah,
that's real
talking about
stuff.
real issues that we're affected by. And like,
Yeah.
I'm so fortunate in that my experience of coming out was like not needing to come out at all, which is kind of hilarious. My mom, to give you guys some background on like kind of who I am, my mom was a young single mom. She had me like at 18. My bio dad was not part of the picture. And we really struggled for a long time. We didn't have a lot. She like worked really fucking hard to just make sure that we were okay. And this is up in Canada, where we had healthcare and we had a little bit more like of a safety net. So like I can't imagine going through what we went through um, in America. I think we would have been screwed pretty much. And my mom finally met my stepdad, and like things were just right and perfect. And so I grew up. He came into the picture when I was like 9, 10, and then like settled in. So things were pretty stable after that. And throughout me growing up, my mom later told me in life that she always suspected that I was a lesbian. Um, and like just kind of like just by how I was and how I interacted with the world and who I was, she was like, I always figured you'd like eventually you would just tell me that you liked girls. And when I brought home my first boyfriend, she was actually very, very surprised. She was like, "Oh, I didn't I kind of and she actually like approached me about this and talked to me about it. And I was like 15. Um and she's like, "So cuz I kind of thought like you might have been, but you're not." And I was like, "Listen, I don't know. I just like people. Like I like people who are smart and who can make me laugh. And that's pretty much my qualifications for whether or not I'm interested in you. You have to be a good person. You have to be intelligent enough to have deep conversations with late at night, and you have to be funny on at least a semi-occasional basis. Because if you can't make me laugh, it's just not going to work. No sense of humor, get out." Um, and my mom was like, "Okay, well, huh? So what are you then?" I'm like, "Dude, does it matter? Like, do we need to?" And she's like, "No, I guess it really doesn't, huh?" And then from then on, I was like really comfortable just like commenting on whoever on TV that I thought was cute. And my mom was like, "Oh yeah, yeah, objectively." And then she'd like show me a celebrity and be like, do you think she's a pretty do you think she's attractive?" And I'm like, "Yeah, she's blah blah blah." Like, I don't know, she just like needed to be able to like have conversations with me about like just my life and to like be close. Like, my mom and I have a very, very good relationship. We're very solid. I am extremely fortunate in my parents. So like I didn't even have to really come out. I was just like, whatever. But later in life, I met my now wife Amy, and my mom didn't meet her as Amy. She met her pre-transition. And so when I finally had to have the conversation of sitting down with my mom and being like, "Hey, this is what's up, and this is how you need to address her from now on," my mom like was confused. She didn't really. She was kind of like, "Okay, so that's weird." And like we had when Amy transitioned, her name was very different, and then she did like a feminized version of what her name was before choosing her now name. Um, and so like I think that was the hardest part for my mom. It wasn't that she needed to use um feminine pronouns. It was that she's like, "Okay, first it was this and now it's this and now it's Amy. Like, when is it gonna change again?" Like, it just felt like she's a person who likes stability. So when people are wishy-washy, that's weird. That's weird for her. And she was also concerned because like my partner is older than I am. She was like, "You're young. Like, is this really what you want to take on with your life?" And I was like, "Well, it's not a matter of what I want to take on. Like, I'm here to be a support, but her transition is her own. Like, at the end of the day, I can't like make her take her pills or make her dress a certain way or do anything that like would push her into the standard of like what the quote unquote ideal woman should be. Like, her transition is her own, and how she decides to do that and the steps she takes to accomplish that, that's her choice. And I'm just here to like love the person that she is, regardless of like how she decides to present herself. Like, if tomorrow she told me she wanted to transition back, I'd be like, "All right, dope, let's do this." You know what I mean? Like, it has absolutely no bearing whatsoever for me on like what gender she chooses to be.
Because you
Uh,
love the person, you don't love
Right.
the sex or the genitalia.
Right. And
Yeah.
it's like, God forbid, like, I need a certain genital in my life. That's what sex toys are there for. Like, but good Lord, it's right there. I can buy it however I want. I can have it whatever shape I want. It can have multiple speed settings.
There's some
Like,
companies that allow you to
That's an
customize.
improvement. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Um,
was just
Go ahead.
hearing you talk about that. It was reminded me of Ash and telling my family about Ash, my waifu. I asked her if it was okay to talk about her, just in case.
Yeah.
But what was I gonna say? Oh, like my dad. My dad. The first thing he said to me, it was his birthday dinner. I like interrupted. I was like, "Hi, by the way, Ash is gonna come, and you're gonna call her she her, and that's the end of it. Okay, bye." Well, so what are we gonna order? Like, it was just not. I didn't want to have a deep conversation. And a couple months later, my dad comes to me and he's like, "Well, I'm just worried." And I'm like, "About what? I'm confused. What are you worried about?" He's like, "Well, you're gonna go out with Ash one day, and what if somebody doesn't like that?" I'm like, "Well, then I'll punch them in the face."
Yeah.
You raised a very aggressive woman, Dad.
It's pretty straightforward.
I'm like, yeah, okay, technically we're in a certain state where most of the places are of the mind of like, as long as you're not bothering me, I don't care. I am definitely racist, homophobic, and transphobic, but I'm of the mindset of, if it's not bothering me, then I'm gonna ignore it and then talk shit about you to my family. Like, that's the vibe of my state. Not great, but better than oh my gosh, California, most of California. And
Or
I just
deep
was,
south.
yeah, deep south, exactly. And he just kept bringing up stuff like, well, what about Ash and surgery? And I was like, well, that's not really my decision. And he goes, well, you have to, you're there. I'm like, uh-huh, okay.
Yes,
Not my
I'm
body.
physically here.
Why do you like? And that was always the question I got was, well, what are they going to do with their business? And I'm like, well, that's their business, and I am uncomfortable answering that question because it's none of yours.
Yeah,
So-
it is funny other people that like that don't get it or haven't been exposed to it before, the kind of questions that they ask or feel the need to ask. Like, I had a coworker that really liked to ask way too many deep questions because she's like a Hungarian woman that grew up like in the communism. Like, she's in her like mid 40s, and so like she has a very different perspective of life and what things should be, and so on. But one of the most interesting things that I think people said when my partner first came out that really stuck with me and bothered me for a long time was, I had one friend who said, "I will call her by her right pronouns when she presents herself the right way."
Ooh,
Yeah.
I've heard that
And
before.
who's obviously not my friend anymore, no longer, clearly. But
Clearly.
it was just interesting that like, and like my mom kind of initially fixated on this idea of like, well, I just, it's weird to call her she her, but she's not wearing any makeup, or she doesn't style her hair or whatever. And I'm like,
Mom, do you wear makeup and style your hair every fucking day?
Yeah.
yes, actually, my mom is the kind of person
Oh.
who does feel the need to like put on her whole face before she goes out into the world. But that's her thing, right? That's what she
Okay.
feels she needs to do to be comfortable for herself. And I'm like, in the same way that you feel the need to put makeup on and do these things and be this way, the only thing Amy needs to feel comfortable is for you to just address her by her correct pronouns.
Yeah.
And my mom was like, uh oh. And like, you kind of like learning how to take what people are saying and analyze it and process it for a couple of minutes and like really boil it down to, what is it you're actually saying? Like, what is the subtext and the emotion behind and the intent behind what it is you're trying to say right now? and how can I reframe this in a way so that it fits your perspective and puts you in the same emotional state that they feel.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's kind of this thing that like I have been doing for a long time with people, because I've moved a lot. I moved like every year and a half, new town, new house, like all the time. So I learned how to analyze people to be close to people rather than just like, oh hi, let's make friends, blah blah blah, you know, like having your childhood friend that you stick to forever, and like you feel that weird, oh they're them over there, those are outsiders. Like I never had that experience growing up. So I think I have maybe a unique perspective in that way of being able to kind of analyze what people are saying and turn it back on them in a way that's not like, I'm not trying to shut people down or be offensive. I'm just like, hey, emotionally, this is how they're feeling. Let me put this in a way that you can feel the same. Like I want to get that gun from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy with the emotion gun where you can just shoot it and like, oh god, now I
Yeah.
understand how it feels. Ah,
Yeah.
you know.
Completely. Yeah. I um here's a question. This was a very specific question for Swag and
What?
me, I guess. Does it annoy you that, because I have a few people in my life who are like, you know what? It's just so amazing that you stuck around. Like, not everybody would do that. And I'm like, okay, maybe if you
Yeah.
stop treating it like this weird savior complex thing, people wouldn't feel like like why am I put on this pedestal for just like loving a person? It's just weird to me. And
Yes,
like I'm
actually, yeah.
yeah.
That is one of my biggest pet peeves, actually. And I actually have pretty strong feelings about partners that like partners of trans women and partners just of trans people in general, because I have looked and have found zero support specifically for partners of trans people.
That is something that is definitely needed. That is something that
Hugely.
my spouse has repeatedly expressed to me. Like she's like, there's no support. Like there's the allies and family forums, but you go on there and there's almost as much toxic behavior happening on those when you look at some of the conversations,
Yeah.
and it's still more geared towards the family members, like the parents or the siblings or the cousins or whoever else. It's not specific to the spouses.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that is definitely something that's needed. um if you're interested in pursuing anything like that, please let me know, because she may be interested in throwing it and helping out with some of that stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't spearhead it necessarily, but I would definitely be interested in lending support and like, you know, doing what I do to help out with that, because
Doing
I
the
have,
thing.
yeah, exactly, doing the thing. Because I have wanted for a long time to have a resource for partners of trans people. There are certain questions that you just don't know how to ask your partner, or like things that maybe you want to address with them that you need to kind of like vocalize with other people to be like, am I being an idiot about this, or you know, is this a realistic, like how do I frame this in a way that isn't like hurting them, or putting down what they're going through, or like whatever. Like there's always something that like you need to talk about that maybe you just can't talk with your partner about. And it's not about not wanting to like have honest conversations with them, it's about I need to run this by somebody else emotionally, rather than this person who's definitely too close to the situation to give me an outside opinion.
Yeah.
Like literally for years I have looked for resources for trans partners. So yeah, I would really be interested in making that a thing, for sure.
Yeah, that would be so helpful for a lot of people, because I had like weird fears because like I had very little outside experience. Like I had a friend in the Bay Area who was trans. Her name is Beatrice. She's rad as hell, and And I like turned to her and then I was like, I really hope this doesn't make you uncomfortable that I'm asking this question. I just don't want to ask Ash and make her uncomfortable because she's like right in the middle of it and you're halfway through it and like da da. And so, and she was like, yeah, I'll answer your questions. And I'm like, this makes me uncomfortable because I don't want to ask, because this sounds crazy. Like the question was something like, I'm like, well, did Ash just like, she thought she was only attracted to women because she wanted to be women and now she's gonna be like attracted to men? And my friend Beatrice was like, I don't think so. I'm like, okay, because I've seen that happen. And it was like, it would totally freaking me out. And I'm like, I don't want to talk to Ash about this right as she's like figuring stuff out, because that's not a helpful question for her and not something that she has to worry about right now, but I'm worrying about. So
Yeah, it is funny actually. A lot of people believe that like when you are transitioning your gender, you're also transitioning your like sexual interest, like your sexual identity, and that is definitely not the case. Gender and sexual identity should definitely be treated as separate things, especially to help like keep from sexualizing the transition process, I think.
yes, no,
Uh,
definitely, which is why I didn't want to like bother her with that question.
totally.
And it
Yeah.
wasn't, and it didn't come, and it didn't come from a place of heteronormativity, I guess is how I would put that. Like I wasn't like, well, now that she's a woman, she has to be straight, because obviously I am not straight.
Right.
But it was more like I was thinking about the YouTuber Gigi Gorgeous and how she had always been attracted to men, but now she's married to, I believe, a woman. And so I was like, wait a second. I'm like, so it can change, but it has nothing to do with the actual transition. And I did
Well, yeah,
like
it's
learn
born out
that.
of your own fear of not wanting to lose someone that you love, rather than, oh God, are they going to be interested in like men specifically? Like,
Yeah, I was like, they're changing, so something is changing about us when that is not actually the fact. And I would,
Right.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
knew that in my logic brain, but in my emotion brain, I was like, oh,
Yeah, and it's you're and I kind of attest it to how we were raised in a society where we're still taught even at a young age that um, gender identity and sexual orientation are not really one and the same, but they're intertwined when
yeah,
really they're not.
right.
yeah, oh, like parents being like, oh, is that your little girlfriend to their sons who are
Right.
2, and I'm like,
Right.
ew, Deborah,
Yeah.
no.
Deborah, no.
Bad Deborah. Stop it.
Bad.
Stop it, Deborah.
First of all, your son has a fan. He is, but no, just kidding. Yeah. So your son's putting on plays in his bedroom. I don't. No, just kidding. But anyway, just coming out with all the stereotypes.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, it would be really helpful because having like being able to talk to somebody in the similar space, but who has maybe had longer to figure some stuff out. And I'm sure, I mean, obviously, that we're not the last people who are ever going to
Give me 1
experience this.
second, guys. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Salad, is that you in the comments? Salad for salads?
Salad for salads.
Yeah, there's
Why
someone in
salad for-
comments, salad for salads.
That's really funny. Okay, well, there's someone in comments called Salad for Salads. Hi, Salad for Salads. You were saying something earlier about 80% of the same energy as you can't get sterilized because your future husband might want kids in the future. Yes, definitely. And also, I think this is talking about my mom and needing to put makeup on, and her comments in regards to my partner. Maybe she resents the need for her to put on makeup and do her hair, that she wouldn't be seen as a viable woman in society if she didn't. So it would be hard for her to understand those same rules don't apply to everyone. Yes.
Right.
I
Yeah.
definitely agree with you on that point, in that, like, her own rules that she imposes on herself of, like, I need to put on makeup and do my hair to look good and present myself properly because, like, I don't want to look like a slob when I go out. I don't want to look like I don't care. I'm not, like, I don't want to be lesser than because I haven't put in the maximum effort into the thing that I'm doing, which honestly is like just like a psychological issue that like I think a number of our family have of like you need to put out maximum effort all the time 100%, and if you don't, like, you are lesser than, or you are worth less. Like my grandfather, we have a joke about where he literally can never sit still. He's up 6 a.m., he does the dishes, and then he's outside and he's cutting wood, and then he goes and he sits on his lapidary and he's cutting gems. And it's like he doesn't stop until 11 o'clock at night, and then he sleeps again until 6, and that's it. And it's like
Wild.
just this insane schedule that, like, why do you feel the need to constantly fill every moment with like maximum energy and effort?
Yeah.
You know, and so that's something I try and catch in myself.
Honestly, I don't.
too, is, like,
I
go too
don't wear
crazy.
makeup all that much because I'm just too damn lazy to put it on half the time.
Valid.
Like I'll go and I'll put on makeup before stream and everything like that because I'm streaming. But for the most part, I'm working from home. I don't have an office. I mean, there's an office for us to go into, but I work from home now, so there's no point. I'm not going anywhere. We go to the grocery store once a week right now, currently because of COVID restrictions and trying to protect ourselves. And my spouse is high risk, but it's too much for me. It's too much effort for just the realization that there isn't going to be anybody that's going to appreciate it. Like I know my spouse loves when I put makeup on, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey.
I remember
Nightbot.
I was
Nightbot. You
Oh,
you are in
Ban?
trouble,
Yeah.
you
Nightbot.
got a slap on the wrist. What?
Nightbot,
You're got banned?
you are in trouble.
What?
How do I unban? Like, what is
oh
going on?
no! Caps lock is cruise control for cool.
Okay, I fixed it. I
Thank
fixed
you.
the ban.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh,
I need
good.
to.
That's the
Thank you,
benefit
Nis.
to being a mod on Girlfried's stream while we're doing this is I can still monitor chat and get rid of some people that are being nasty and fix when Nightbot or Streambot is being a downright asshole.
Yeah, I'm glad someone has their shit together because I sure don't.
oh, me neither ever.
I'm so sorry, Siring. I don't know if there's anything that I can do, but
No,
Sorry?
Nis took care of it already. You're good.
that's the
Which
second.
person is the other salad? Oh, the other salad is Chaotic Salad in our chat
Yep.
right now. Say hi.
Oh, can you hear me? Hi.
Hi. I was like, God, she's really here. I promise.
I'm here, I swear. Yes, I am here asking
Yeah,
the
so it's
the
just
hard
funny that-
questions.
that there's a salad for salads when we have a salad here. So there's salad
Nightbot!
for salads for the salad.
Nightbot.
My biggest
Oh my God.
What is your
Nightbot is losing its mind.
How
my
do I
God.
stop
This is something
Nightbot
I
from
gotta
doing
get.
that? How do I stop Nightbot from doing that? Can I ban Nightbot?
I'm hearing Ash cackling in the other room, and I'm confused.
Oh no. Okay, so you have to go in and you either have to go in and change your settings for cap spam or just disable it entirely on Nightbot.
Okay, I'll have to do that after the stream then. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Searing is
Searing,
no
just
longer allowed
try-
to hype.
Yeah, no caps lock hype, unfortunately.
Not yet. Not until after I
Night-
fix this.
Nightbot.
Nightbot heard you talking shit.
This is why I don't have Nightbot on my stream because it's a fickle bitch.
I just make other
Ugh.
people be mods for me.
You know
I
what?
just
You know
force
what?
them to help me.
Nightbot, get out of here.
Nightbot, go
Oh,
away. No
you
one likes you.
banned Nightbot.
Fantastic.
I just
Oh my
banned the
God,
robot.
guys.
Okay,
That's
so
funny.
Salad and I have shared a bit. Girlfriend, I want to hear from you. You haven't spoken in a while.
Yeah,
So you
I
should,
haven't
You should
said
talk to us
much.
about
I'll-
things.
Well, the my transitioning and everything, I originally came out when I was 16. I first came out as gay at 15, and then while dating my first boyfriend, I my friends, they invited me over to try new makeup on and see how it looked, and they used me for the model for that, and I enjoyed it. I really did. And then they were talking to me about trans, so that's honestly where I learned about that and looked more into it, and I sat down with my dad and my stepmom, and I came out as trans. They laughed at me, said it wasn't possible to go from being male to female. So I mean, they weren't unsupportive of me, but they weren't supportive either. They just kind of, yeah, nope, just no. But after that, whenever my stepmom had a new dress for a model to wear in a photo shoot of hers, she used me to try it on and see how it would look in certain lighting and everything, and I enjoyed that. And I stayed back, or I had forced myself back into the closet and dated a couple of girls again, and just kind of made my parents forget about it, forget that ever happened, and then I didn't come back out again to my friends. I didn't come out to my parents again until recently, actually. But came out to my friends, and then went back in the closet from that for a while because my best friend was killed my senior year. So, big depression, I just shut down everything.
Oh man.
And then 21, drinking, I finally came out again. And that time, I left no closet door to hide behind again. Like, I ripped it off the hinges, chopped it to pieces, and then burned it, and burned the ashes. Like, that door is gone.
Properly destroyed.
I've actually been on hormones for a year now. Actually, as of last Friday, so. Yep.
Whoop whoop.
Yep.
Awesome.
Only
1 year
recently.
T-girl.
Yep. Only recently did I come out to my dad again, and he was actually more supportive this time around about it. He told me that I am I am growing into a wonderful person. He will support me no matter what. And I've neglected calling him since, but him and I we get so busy that it's just we catch up on holidays. That's about it.
Valid.
Yeah.
But my Aunt Marie, my biological mother's sister, and babysitter that I had when I was little, I came out to them, and well, they said that they already knew about it. They knew that I was going to be this way, and I would always try stealing their makeup or their shoes or. So yeah, that's me.
A long history of
Yep.
of
Heck of a roller coaster too.
yeah, like kind of knowing what you wanted, but not really being able to quite take the step through, and then like just going full force. That's
Yep.
awesome.
Yeah.
And while they're on my mind, I may as well take them now.
Aha.
Yeah. Mental health plays a huge role in our lives, and we don't realize it sometimes.
But yeah,
Or we
no,
try to pretend like it doesn't. We're like, no, in the moment.
Well, I mean, like your mental health is kind of everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. Especially when you're a streamer. If you're in a bad place, you are not getting onto stream. And if you are, your
Yeah.
viewers are going to be able to tell something's wrong.
Oh yeah.
That especially, yeah, I felt that the last couple weeks I was kind of getting in a bad spot, and I did not stream a single day for 3 weeks in a row.
Yeah, that's why I honestly
Oh,
took
man.
all of last week off. Was I just needed to focus on me, and that's why I didn't stream yesterday. I felt it coming, and I'm like, nope, we're stepping back for a sec.
Uh,
Yeah.
I'm really lucky that I've got a really awesome crew with the Peaceful Kingdom and like you guys and stuff. Because when I start to hit that slog of like, oh man, I'm just like really not feeling it. I'm really not doing okay. Like mentally, I'll usually gather a couple of people and be like, okay, we're playing like a group game today, and it gives me some people to bounce off of, so I don't have to be like on all the time. Like if I miss a stream, it's because I'm physically like in pain and cannot sit up and be at my computer, which happens more often than I care to admit, but you know.
Yeah. Crazy. I
So,
had to take 2 months off of YouTube because I was so out of it. I was like, I can't. I was like, hey guys, I promise I'm gonna upload videos, and then I uploaded a video like a month in. And I was like, so I am depressed.
oh,
See you when I see ya. Like, just haven't been on.
Oh no, salad.
It's fine. School's kicking my butt, but it's almost over, and it's fine.
Well, light at the end of the tunnel, right?
Totally. Yeah.
Doesn't
I'm
help
like,
that you keep getting the DCMA'd
ugh,
for
every time.
no
Well,
reason.
yeah. I mean, I do watch a lot of movies, so it's bound to happen. But
So I used to stream on YouTube. I actually had a pretty big following on under my previous um, streamer handle with Assassin's Creed franchise, and a week into streaming Odyssey, no, sorry, Origins. A week into streaming Origins, got a 3 month YouTube live stream suspension with no explanation
What?
other than that I had violated community standards. So I went back and I looked at all my VODs, and I didn't see any problem with any of the titling, anything that I did on there, or anything like that. Somebody had gone in there and just excessive. From what I'm guessing is somebody just sent in a bunch of reporting me for violating community standards enough to where YouTube was just like, all right, well you're live banned for 3 months.
yeah.
So I even tried to follow up with YouTube. I was like, hey, what's the deal? What's going on with this? And I never heard a word. So I was just like, okay, you know what? I'm going to go to, like, I'll fucking go to Mixer or something. I don't, like, for as shitty as Mixer was, I was like, if I'm just going to get a live stream ban for 3 months with no explanation and no follow up, I don't want to fuck with you. Because it's not like,
Yeah.
I had a pretty big following, but it still wasn't enough to where I could actually monetize my videos properly because of all the freaking rules that they had put in place for monetization.
Yeah,
So,
YouTube
yeah.
Yeah, that's
is
part of why one of my favorite YouTubers, one of the people that actually got me interested in doing this, Minilad, he had stopped swearing for a while, but then he said that YouTube was like, you know what, we still consider you in that group of people who swear all the time through all their videos, and he said he's just like, screw it, I'm done. I'm gonna go back to swearing. You're gonna say I'm swearing even when I'm not. Fuck you.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
Like and that's part of why I gave up on YouTube. It's like I cannot not swear when I'm playing a video game, especially when there's something fucking stupid going on in it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Like YouTube
I would have to
is
heavily edit everything I do in order to put it on
Like-
YouTube, I think.
Yeah.
What's the point
Like-
in YouTube and Twitch having the you have to be 18 plus to view this or whatever if you know you're just gonna censor the people for swearing and not pay the people for swearing? What's the
Yeah.
point in even having that as an option? Just make it for kids if you want
Right.
it to be for kids.
Yeah.
Also, YouTube only like messes with smaller creators. They're never like, this Shane Dawson guy seems really weird. We should probably do something about that. They're like,
I mean,
hey,
look
you.
at how much shit PewDiePie has gotten away with,
Yep.
and he still has a
Exactly.
fucking channel.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
crazy to me.
Markiplier actually did an interesting video of that the other day where the person who posted a reaction video to some YouTube video that was on there got banned for inappropriate content on his reaction video. Markiplier had the same video in his reaction video. Markiplier didn't get banned, no flag, no nothing. So he's like, "Hey, fair is fair, YouTube. If you're gonna ban them, you should be banning me."
I do
Yeah.
know that
Sent in the links.
I do know that Markiplier also had that issue a little ways back with one of his videos that everyone gets to interact with to decide what he's doing.
Yeah.
And his followers had gotten banned for spamming the emotes that he was telling them to spam.
That's so dumb.
It's insane. I have a love-hate relationship with YouTube because I was raised on it and I've always wanted to like make content on YouTube, not be I mean, obviously when I was younger I was like, I want to be YouTube famous. Now I'm like, I just want to make people laugh. Please. And YouTube makes it so hard. I'm editing my most recent video and I'm having to cut up the scenes into tiny little pieces so that I don't get a copyright claim from Hulu. And I'm expecting like a small one, but this last one was so weird and random and different. And I'm like, do you just have some agreement with Netflix where they have a different copyright system than everybody else? Because that doesn't seem fair. YouTube.
And
Yeah.
the other reason why I gave up on YouTube was their goals that you need to reach for hitting monetization are kind of bullshit.
Yeah, they're
4,000 subscribers and 1,000 views to only make $4 a video? Like, what the
now
fuck?
It's 10,000. Now
Oh,
Before we
it's
get-
10,000 now?
Yeah.
Oh,
For
Lord.
$4.
Before we get too far
Too
off
far.
topic here, Nis, because I'm actually late for my own stream, but I'm good. It's fine. Nis, did you want to share your own story? Are you comfortable with sharing? Oh, your mic is
You're
not
muted.
Your mic is not on, my love.
I went to go get water, and I went to go get water, so I muted my mic because filling up my water cup sounds like a men's restroom.
Oh
so
God.
I muted myself to come back, while I was getting my water, and I forgot to unmute myself. I'm actually I'm good either way. I'm comfortable sharing, but I know we've already been at this for 2 hours. I know we never
Oh,
really
yeah, we
solidified how much. I know we never solidified how long we actually wanted to do this. But I'm super down to continue the conversation on another episode.
Yeah,
If
we
we
can,
want to continue doing this.
we can hold off. I
Um,
didn't realize we'd been going for 2 hours. I didn't even realize it was 5 o'clock.
I know we've been jamming. It's been a really good sesh.
It has. I've
yeah.
really enjoyed this. I hope all the viewers have enjoyed this.
Yes, and I have something for next time to help make our setup a little bit fun with our cameras. So we'll get that set up together.
All right.
And if anybody knows because I don't know that many, I would also, just so that we have varying viewpoints in here. If anybody happens to know any transgender male or transmasc streamers that would be interested in joining the podcast, please let myself, Girlfried, or Smog know.
Yeah.
Because we would definitely love to get you in here.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, we need more people for the round table. There's only
Yeah,
4 of us here currently.
we want a variety of perspectives and
Yeah.
experience here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, 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 yes. Okay. Well, on that note, I think I gotta go set up for Cyberpunk, you guys. I gotta finish it so I can replay it with
All
the
right.
titties.
I'm gonna be ending
You
the
gotta
video here.
replay with the titties. I've
Yeah,
done
I gotta-
two. I've done 2 streams now where I was just like, no, I'm not gonna censor this shit. I already have it set up to my stream is an 18 and up stream. You have to validate that, and anything outside of that, like I scroll past and I don't do any of the genitalia editing or anything like that. But the
Okay.
titties were all up, the titties were all up on my stream last night
Okay.
and earlier today. So
I
Oh,
wish I
man.
could have
See,
caught
I'm
it.
just like I'm scared. I'm just scared to put the titties on. Like
Put-
I'll smoke weed all day long, but I'm scared to put the titties on there.
Put the titties on there.
I fear the titty.
All right.
yeah,
Good.
we'll definitely get into that discussion on the next episode because
I'm gonna cut to my stream ending. I hope y'all have enjoyed. This has been really fun. We will definitely
has.
talk about doing the next one, getting it set up. I know today I kind of just sprung it on you guys last week for today, but yeah, hopefully we
Hell
can
yeah.
all get something that'll work out for us all going
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
and do a regular thing of this.
Thanks everybody for being here. This was
Yeah,
great.
thanks,
Love
everybody.
y'all.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for
Absolutely
joining us.
salad.
Oh yeah. You were right, Smog. Salad is super fucking funny.
Salad is
really
hilarious and awesome and a delight and just a genuinely A+ human being. So
Oh my gosh, I can't wait to tell my therapist that.
I speak
You're-
to mine
you're
tomorrow.
welcome. Oh man, I talk to
so
my
do we-
therapist every night. His name is Terramana.
So do we close out with little hearts or do we close out with those little heart? Wait, what is it? The that one? That little? It's
I
lopsided
will let
because
you
my
post
thumb is
for
so much
me.
bigger.
I don't have. Please donate to my stream for hand tracking.
Please donate to my stream for a computer that can actually play Cyberpunk.
Oh no.
Oh man.
So sad.
I
Oh,
don't
God.
think I think Cyberpunk would kill my computer.
Oh, poor
Like
thing.
I downloaded
Alright,
Skyrim. I
y'all.
can't even play Skyrim.
Oh wow.
Oh no.
All right, everybody.
All right,
Big
hitting the
hearts,
stream
big
ending.
loves.
Big hearts.
Bye.
Here, I'll do the big hearts and the little hearts for everybody.
Thank you.
Close out with the titty. This was fun.
This was a blast. I think you just hit X and it goes back in. All right. I'm going to run over to